Good morning. We're picking up at Acts 8, verse 30. So Philip ran to him, that is the Ethiopian eunuch, and heard him reading Isaiah the prophet and asked, "Do you understand what you're reading?" Now, Philip ran up to the man. He didn't just wait for the man to come to him. Question was a great opener because he heard the man reading and he showed concern. He approached the man where he was in his faith, and then he built upon that faith. So often, when we try to witness, we tear people, their old belief system down, and then try to build it up. Well, I would rather build upon what they have and guide them further and take them along into a new path. Don't tear down the old when you don't have to. And he said, "How can I unless someone guides me?" He invited Philip to come up and sit with him. This is a proper question that Philip asked. Do you understand the Bible? We should never feel bad if we need to be taught before we can understand these things. You can't make a disciple if you don't know yourself, and disciple making means to grow people along. This humble man was not afraid to ask for help, so Philip sits with him in the coach and they travel toward Africa. Sometimes you may have to go in a different direction than what you wanted. Now, this is the passage that he was reading. He says, "Like sheep he was led to slaughter, like a lamb before its shearers is silent, so he opens not his mouth. In humiliation and justice was denied him, for who described his generation? For his life is taken away from the earth." The passage comes from Isaiah chapter 53, verses 7 and 8. And I would like to look at that whole chapter and kind of give you the whole meaning behind that chapter. Remember that the New Testament Christians did not have the New Testament. They were the New Testament. So they're going to use the Old Testament. And the eunuch said to Philip, "About whom, I ask you, does the prophet say this? About himself or about someone else?" Then Philip opened his mind, and beginning with this scripture, he told him the good news about Jesus. Can you tell people about Jesus beginning from an Old Testament passage? Stephen did. Philip does. It was a common practice to teach Jesus from the Old Testament. We even have more information in the Old Testament about Jesus than what the New Testament contains. And the New Testament interprets most of the Old Testament, which we'll see in a couple of days.